school year has barely started and the Southland has already racked up some huge wins. I'm Megan Clemente and this is the Southland Spotlight. In football, another FBS foe falls. While in soccer, history was made by a conference newcomer. And in volleyball, some tournament titles. The football spotlight shines on Nicholls. The Colonels made their way to Western Michigan, and on the first possession, they went 62 yards in just 5 plays. Marcus Washington gets the score, and it was 7-0. Before the quarter ended, Kaylin Henderson scored from a yard out, and it was 14-0. Washington scored again in the second quarter, and it was 21-9 Colonels at halftime. Western Michigan scored twice in the third quarter to take a 23-21 advantage, but Nicholls reclaimed the lead with a pair of Andrew Dolan field goals. The second with 1:44 to play, and it was 27-23. But WMU then marched all the way to the 24-yard line, looking for the come-from-behind win. But Josh Dewey picks off the pass at the goal line, and Nicholls wins it 27-23. The second straight week, a Southland team has knocked off an FBS opponent, and 20th time since 2000.
This is big for us to get this win. The last few years, we haven't been the best, but we still went out there and tried to give 100%. And to get a win this early in the season, that's a lot of momentum going into the rest of the season.
Northwestern State opened its home schedule versus in-state rival Southern. Quarterback Zach Adkins had a great first half, throwing 3 touchdown passes to 3 different receivers over a 15-minute span. And the Demons led 31-7 at intermission. Atkins finished the game with 331 yards passing. Robert Walker complemented the passing game with a pair of touchdown runs. The Demons run their record to 2-0 with an impressive 55-14 win.
I'm very proud of the team for being able to handle the week, handle the atmosphere, and stay focused, and then go out and play the game. And that was not anticipated. I was looking forward to it being a really close game, and we were preparing the team that way, coming down to the fourth quarter, down the stretch, that type of deal. But our guys just really played outstanding in all 3 phases.
McNeese State also playing its first home game of the year, and Marcus Wills scored less than 3.5 minutes into the game to take a 7-0 lead versus Arkansas Pine Bluff, the defending SWAC champions. Wills was the man for the Cowboys. He found the end zone 2 more times in the second quarter, first from 22 yards, and then with time running out in the half, scored from 6 yards as MSU rolled to a 37-14 lead. For the game, Wills rumbled for 115 yards and 3 touchdowns. Quarterback Cody Stroud fired a pair of third-quarter touchdowns, and McNeese wins big, 58-14, to also go to 2-0. Sam Houston State traveled to 7th-ranked Texas A&M and hung tough with the Aggies. Timothy Flanders had a couple of touchdown runs, part of a 170-yard performance on the ground, and also added a touchdown reception to tie the Southland's record for career touchdowns. But the home-standing Aggies took control and won 65-28. Southeastern Louisiana played at 24th-ranked TCU, and quarterback Brian Bennett ran for 132 yards and a touchdown. Bennett also threw for exactly the same yardage and a TD strike to Jeff Smiley, and the game was tied at 14. The Horned Frogs pulled away in the second half, though, and won 38-17. Lamar played at Louisiana Tech, and thanks to a Peyton Plow run, it was 7-7 midway through the second quarter. Tech came back to take a 14-7 halftime lead. Caleb Berry threw for 272 yards that included a fourth-quarter touchdown to Jordan Edwards, putting the Cardinals within 3 with under 11 minutes to go. But the Bulldogs scored 10 unanswered points and claimed victory, 27-14. Central Arkansas also hit the road versus the FBS team, Colorado. Winrick Smothers threw a pair of touchdown passes in the first half, and then early in the fourth scored from a yard out, and the Bears had a 24-17 lead. But a pair of costly turnovers split this game, and Colorado comes from behind to beat the Bears 38-24. This weekend, there are more chances for wins over FBS opponents. Nicholls makes this short trip to play at Louisiana Lafayette. You can see that game on ESPN3. Northwestern State heads north to play at Cincinnati. That game is also on ESPN3, while Lamar travels to Oklahoma State. You can watch the Cards and the Pokes on Fox Sports Southwest. Sam Houston State is back home. It plays Texas Southern. That game is on Comcast Sportsnet Houston. Southeastern Louisiana plays at South Dakota State, while Central Arkansas goes to Tennessee Martin. Stephen F. Austin is at home to play McMurray, and McNeese State entertains West Alabama. Lots of non-conference action to get to in volleyball. Tuesday night, the Abilene Christian Wildcats knocked off Texas Tech. The 3-1 victory came in the program's first D1 home match. Houston Baptist played in the Florida International Tourney and swept the Alabama Crimson Tide on the second day of play. A great win for the Huskies over SEC competition. Central Arkansas hosted the Sugar Bear Classic and swept its way to the title. The Sugar Bears lost just one set in 4 matches. Thanks to her performance, Heather Schnars was named the Southland Offensive Player of the Week. Oral Roberts ran its record to 6-1 as it won the Texas El Paso Invitational. The Golden Eagles swept all 3 games, and for her efforts, Bruna Silva was named the conference's Defensive Player of the Week. In soccer, McNeese State is off to the best start in school history. The Cowgirls had a tough test from in-state rival Louisiana Tech this past weekend and passed with flying colors. The game was tied at 1 at halftime, and then in the 68th minute, Jordan Beasley netted what turned out to be the winning score. Then 5 minutes later, she scored again. McNeese wins 4-2, running its record to 5-1-0. Nichols is also off to its best start in program history, standing at 5-0-1 following a 2-1 victory over ULL on Sunday. The Colonels get back to action Friday at home versus Alcorn State. It was an historic weekend for Texas A&M Corpus Christi. The Islanders played at Texas San Antonio, and Yvette Franco snapped a 1-1 tie with a goal in the 78th minute, her second of the game. That goal stood up, and the Islanders won 2-1, their first win in program history. And Stephen F. Austin played its final non-conference road match of the season at UTEP. And what a match it was! Kellyanne Craig scored in the 71st minute, and that set the contest to overtime, actually double overtime. And that's when Chelsea Raymond scored in the 107th minute, and the Lady Jacks score a dramatic 2-1 win. So no matter the sport, we had some great action from around the conference this past week. Remember to get updates everywhere you go by downloading the Southland Conference app for iPhone, Android, and tablet. I'm Megan Clementi. Until next time, thanks for joining me on the Southland Spotlight.